good. So hi, KemKem, and thank you so much for taking part today in our HouseSit Chat.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me, Lamia. This is wonderful. I was more than happy to participate.
Oh, well, it's an absolute pleasure to chat to you. I mean, you've been a client of HouseSit Match now for a few years.
Yes.
And we really appreciate you sort of choosing your house and pet sitters through us. So thank you.
Thank you. I mean, I've had nothing but good experiences. So, it's a no-brainer to just keep on with something that works for me. So.
Well, that's great. Well, I know as a travel blogger yourself, and your fabulous travel blog, nextbiteoflife.com, is just wonderful. We always enjoy those stories, and especially when you slow travel across Europe. I mean, you have such wonderful taste in the places you visit, and of course the food you sample and share with us. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I enjoy. I mean, there's nothing I love better than traveling, and my husband, thank God, enjoys the same thing. So it's been wonderful, and the best thing we probably ever did was move over to this side of the pond, so to speak, because we wanted to explore Europe especially. So this gives us a chance to actually go and really spend time there instead of coming from the US where we had like 2 weeks of vacation and it was all like, by the time you get over the jet lag, it's time to go back. So this has been great.
It is a different quality of life, actually, isn't it? I mean, absolutely. In Europe, yeah, you're able to really just kind of sample a different sort of way of existence. And your travel is really fairly unique because you slow travel across Europe at the moment, and you've lived in a number of countries. I mean, do you want to tell us a little bit about where you've been?
Well, when we left the US 6 years ago, like 6 years and a half, actually, our first stop was to Malta because I really wanted to stay close to his family in Rome, and he didn't want to move back to Rome. So we were kind of looking for a place that would be close enough. And Malta just fit the bill because they speak English as a first language as well as Maltese. And it's only an hour flight from Rome. And I'm originally from West Africa in Nigeria. So for me, it was also great because it was only a 6-hour plane ride as opposed to the old ones that I had was 12, 18, sometimes 24, depending on the layover. So, it was a win-win situation. And after we got bored with Malta, we love the island, but it's true what they say, you really do get island fever. And we happened to get that after about 15 months. And we just one day said, it's time to go, but where to go? Because I'm like, I only speak English. He doesn't want to move back to Italy. Where do we go? Yeah. And so I just took a pen and just went onto the map, and it landed on Malaga. And so that was our first stop after Malta. And we were there for about 7 months, but we just didn't love it. So we decided to go on to Sevilla because we visited a friend for the weekend, and we absolutely loved it. We lasted in Sevilla for 2 years. The first year was great. The weather was wonderful. I'm like, why is everybody complaining that it's so hot? It's wonderful. It was dry heat. And then the second year, I'm like, oh no, we need to get out of here. I'm not staying here another year. So we wanted to find someplace with the water, close by. And that's how we came to Valencia. And, I keep saying that I felt like Goldilocks looking for, and I found it when we got to Valencia. It's just the right size because we both liked Madrid, but it was just too big and too expensive. And Valencia just fit us to a T. And so far, so good. We're going on our 3rd year now. We're starting our 3rd year. So this is it for us, at least for now.
Sounds like Valencia is the magic formula there. I mean, I have to love your blogs and the festivals. I mean, the food, it's just extraordinary. It sounds like a fantastic place to have a city break. Even if people are house sitting for you, it's a wonderful place to visit.
It sure is. Some of the sitters that we met through HouseSit Match have actually come back on vacation because they really enjoy Valencia. It's really, I don't know how best to describe it. Barcelona is huge and everybody loves it. Madrid is huge. Valencia just seems like a mixture of the two, and it seems a little bit more authentic Spanish to me, at least, and there's just something really special about it. It's not huge by any means. I mean, after a while, you're like, okay, you've done pretty much everything, but then everything is walkable or bikeable, and we just love the quality of life. We're getting used to it, and we just we really like it.
Well, you're a great promoter, I have to say, for the city of London. I can't wait. In fact, I'm
no.
going to book myself your next house sit.
Say one more time.
I'm going to try and book myself your next house sit. I think.
Good. You're more than welcome. You know, we've been trying to meet up for the past 4 years, so maybe we'll, Valencia will actually make it happen. Well, you're more than welcome.
And to that point, now you've always chosen house sitters over boarding kennels or dog hotels because you have 2 dogs that you take with you everywhere. They're like family, I know. So why have you chosen house and pet sitters rather than another alternative?
Well, I think a lot of times when we were in Malta, we actually used kennels to make us with house sitters because we found this one lady who was just absolutely wonderful with the dogs, and she decided to open a business. We met her through a friend, and she ended up opening a business, and it worked out well. But when we moved to Spain, I like the idea of not having the dogs go elsewhere, especially the little one. She's really she's got issues. She likes her own space. She's like an old lady. She's 12 years old and she's a mixture of everything. So she likes her own set paces, and she does have epilepsy. So it's not very strong when she has the seizures, but anything strange really, will set her off. And if she's not used to the same thing. So that was when I came up with the idea of maybe we should try house sitters instead, because they get to stay in their own little world, and it's worked out fantastically. I mean, now if she has a seizure once every 6 to 8 months, it's nothing. Before, she was having it quite often every time she went away. So it was it was traumatic for her. So I prefer it this way.
Well, that's great. And is there anything in particular that you look for in house sitters? I know people sometimes, if they're new to house sitting and they're homeowners and pet owners, they think, well, how could I possibly choose? It's online. I don't get to meet them. They don't get to meet the pets sometimes. How would you choose? What do you look for in house sitters?
Well, truthfully, to me, when I get applications for house sitters, I mean, the first thing I look for is the language. I kind of tend to read between the lines. A lot of times people write you and they say things like, I want to go to Valencia or, wherever you are, Rome, and they talk so much about why they want to visit that place. And I'm like, well, that's all good for you. But for me, I only care about my dogs. So if they don't really ask me how my dogs are, how can you take care of your dogs? I mean, everything should be about the pet. And then you can say afterwards, yeah, it'll be good to be there too. But it's amazing to me how many people actually write you, and I just throw those away.
Right.
It doesn't do me any good if you're having a good time. I want you to take care of my dogs. So I think a lot of people forget that that's where they're applying for the house sit. And so that's the first thing I look for. And then I tend to, and I know it's not fair, I know, whatever, I mean, I don't care. I tend to go for slightly older people, only because some of the agencies that I had used before, when they're younger, they tend to not care too much. It's just yeah, whatever. And I don't like that kind of attitude. I take it very seriously because these dogs are my family. So I want people that will be attentive to them. So I see older people, they tend to be a little more caring. They're not out there partying, and I look for that kind of thing. And if they're a couple, it's better. I don't even mind. I mean, our first house sitters with you was actually a family. I don't know if you remember that. It was an Australian family with 2 kids. I don't care. If you have kids, that's fine. I just care more about the people, getting a sense of how they are and how they'll act with my pets. And then, of course, after that, I'll proceed to having a Skype call just to see that my first instincts were right or whatever. And I admit, lately, I do depend on you a lot too, because I know once you've vetted them, people that have skin in the game, when you have sitters that are from, I wouldn't mention the name, but a company that was free on both sides, sometimes you get what you pay for. And to me, when sitters don't have any skin in the game, I've had people call me up and say, hey, you know what? I met this guy in Barcelona and I'm going to go meet him. And they leave my pets alone and like, I'm going to leave tomorrow. So we were in Japan when this happened. And we had to find somebody to sit for them for 3 weeks. So it was a lot of money. It was a lot of, unneeded worry. And thank God we knew somebody from our vet's office, but things like that happen. But when people have skin in the game and both sides are paid, which I think is a good thing, then they care more about what they're doing. And I think that makes, so I'm a little more relaxed once I even see the people that are coming through, because I know you vetted them. And I depend on you because you're so easily accessible to me, which is great. I love it. How many times have I said, Lamia, I don't even know. I don't want to write this thing. And you're like, you know what? Let me take care of the ad. Let me do this. So I appreciate all that. And that's what keeps you coming back and keeps you talking about it to everybody that I meet. And it's been wonderful, at least for me. So.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, we love having clients like you. Obviously, you're collaborative, and that's what we think is the best thing, really. If people are open-minded, but also ready to kind of listen to suggestions and play the game. I think the ID verification is really important on both sides. As you say, the fact that people have to pay, whether they're house sitters or homeowners, it just means that there is a vested interest for everyone to make it work. But also it means we can afford to run a professional site. And that's really important, especially these days with online issues. We manage all that professionally, and we take pride in that.
You're doing a fabulous job, and it's been absolutely wonderful working with you. And I couldn't even imagine going anywhere else because I can't get any better service. It's just wonderful. And I don't mind paying the fee because I know what I'm getting is absolutely worth it. And what the other side, the sitters are getting also. Sometimes people complain and say, well, I think it should be free. Well, why? I mean, you're running a business, and there's a saying, you have to pay money to make money, right? You just can't expect everything for free. Unfortunately, with the internet, it's like, oh, I can get all the information for free. Fine. But if you're running a business, I certainly hope you want to make a profit. So I have no problem with that, and they shouldn't either.
Oh, well, thank you. One of the things I wanted to ask you really is, you've had a lot of house sitters from us, and you must be used to have a routine now. You have a way of briefing people. You obviously have an instinctive way of interviewing them to understand if they're going to be suitable for the dogs in your home. But one of the things I wanted to ask you is, with all this experience, how do you help them settle in? Is there something that you do that helps them get the feel of the place quickly, or introduces them to your cities? Any special sort of suggestions you might have for other homeowners who haven't done it as often or even ever before?
Well, the first thing we do, like when I accept a house sitter, I have them tell me when they're going to come in. I try to arrange them to come in a day before we actually leave for our vacation, a day or two, so that we can get to know each other. So we try to make it like in the afternoon. So my husband, who loves to cook, he's like an Italian chef without the degree or something, So he always has a nice Italian meal for them. And we get to talk and chat, and from the Skype interview before, there's already a familiarity. And then a lot of them read the blog also, so they get an idea of what we're like. So once they come in, after we have lunch, I tell them the routine of the dogs, like, her pill, when she takes it, this is what time. And we like to walk around the neighborhood, show them like the good places to eat, or, the grocery store, how close it is. And Fede usually, he takes it very seriously, and he'll take everybody, and this is the grocery store, this is this, and this one has the best food, and so that kind of things. Even though there is food in the house, but sometimes we eat a lot of Italian food, so sometimes people don't want to cook that. So we just show them around the city and what needs to be seen or what must be seen. We tell them how long they can leave the dogs for, and so they can arrange their time outside. We're very lucky that the dogs don't need to be, overseen every 2 seconds. They just like to sleep, and they just like to, stay close to you, and that's their thing, So you leave them alone, and they leave you alone. They don't really bug. So it's been wonderful. Actually, I think, I don't know if you remember Eden,
Oh, yes.
one of the house sitters from you. She house sat for us for 31 days. And she, you know, when we came back, she's like, I heard your dog bark 3 times in 31 days.
In a month?
Yeah.
Wow.
She's like, I couldn't believe it. I thought you were kidding when you said that. I go, no, you know. She's like, somebody came up to the gate, like the mailman came, you know, the bark. Usually they just walk around, they just look, they don't care. They don't want to be bothered, they don't bother anybody. And we've been in this building now for 3 months. And we went down and the old man upstairs was like, you know, you have dogs? I'm like, yeah.
It was a shock.
Yeah. They didn't know. So that kind of thing, that they just like, you know, they just like to live their lives and be left alone. So it's been great. And so when the sitters come, they see, and then sometimes we have them, like for now, the sitter that's actually coming in a couple of days, I told her, I think it'll probably be better for you to sleep in our room because of the way the setup is when they go. So that way you don't have to wake up during the night, because the setup we have now, it's a lot easier for them to go out and whenever they want. So there's no problem. So we just talk about that kind of thing. And it's been working out perfectly. I think if you're prepared and you have like the routine that the dogs do, you can have it written down. But I have so few that I know I should write it all down somewhere, but I don't, because it's like, okay, give them the pill and do this. And it's like 4 things and that's it. So it's been really good. It's worked out very well every time.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Really, really. They sound like a really easy pair of dogs to care for.
Yes, they are. My husband calls them mongoloids, and that's exactly what.
That seems a little unfair.
What they are. You know? Very
nonetheless.
Exactly.
Yeah. And while you're away, obviously some of your trips are long. Do you like the sitters to keep in touch? I know some homeowners are not very fussed. They say, no, as long as everything's okay, I don't want to hear. But other people like to be in daily contact, to have photographs and so on. Where do you sit on the? Do you sit on the fence, or are you?
I am one.
This is a problem, or are you keep in touch?
No, I'm one of the former. I do not want to hear from you unless there's something wrong. You know,
right?
Because there is that trust between. There has to be mutual trust between the sitters and the owners. When you're doing it, it's a job. You know, it's a wonderful job. And it's something that you like doing, and I believe that you can do it. So I know that you're doing a good job. I don't need to check up on you. If I was working in an office, I don't want my boss or my coworker or, you know, people that go by checking up on me every second of the day. I don't need that. And the dogs are fine. And that's, you know, but if there's something wrong, we usually leave a name of somebody they can call, like, you know, if something happens and there's an emergency or you lock yourself out or whatnot, this person has a set of keys. But it's never happened that they actually need. Oh, there was one time where they had where she had I don't even remember what it was now, but she had to go to the vet, and he contacted us. But I mean, leave me a note or send me an email once every couple of days, 3 or 4 or 5 days or whatever, just to let me know everything is fine. But if I don't hear from you, I assume everything is fine. So just let me know.
Good news.
Say it again.
No news is good news.
Exactly. That's me.
Okay, great. Okay, well, that's good to know. It's always good to know. So where is your next travel adventure sort of set for? I mean, you say you have a sitter arriving in a couple of days. When can we expect the next fabulous episode of life.com?
Let's see. We're up to, it's nothing exciting really for us. We're going to visit his family in Rome. And then we're going to go on to Florence from there, and probably the little town of Perugia. So that would be the next adventure. I'm trying to go for more off the beaten path travel now, because we've been to Rome so many times. I think people are probably tired of seeing things about Rome, but unfortunately they're gonna get it. So we'll do that, and then I'm looking forward to Florence again. We've done it before, but you know, I always believe, like, if you have a good time somewhere, it's more than perfectly okay to go back. I don't need to be counting how many countries I've been. I don't need to be going to all this this one-off. If I had a good time, I'm more than happy to return, just like the sitters. When I have great sitters, I'm always the first one to say, let me know when you're going to be back in this area. You're more than welcome. And we've had sitters from you that have sat for us 2-3 times. Like, there's a couple from New Orleans. They've sat for us 3 times. And we have no problems, because I think when you find somebody who's actually valuable and enhances your travel and your life, and makes your life so much easier, why wouldn't you have repeat customers? But speaking of that, actually, there was a lady that has sat for you, I think. And she applied for one of the seats that we have coming up. And unfortunately, we weren't able to accommodate her. But I really got along with her. And so we talked, we Skyped, and we're like, you know what? When do you have time? I asked her. And, let me know when you're available, and we'll actually make time and travel around your time. So it's great. So in January, I think we're gone for about a month. Thanks to her, she's available then. So we're gonna make it happen, and that's one of the things I love too. That's my advice for homeowners. If you find somebody, even if you can't use them that time, but you get along, keep them in mind for the next time. And contact the person, and have them in mind, and have them sit for you. It's a win-win situation.
Oh, that's great. Well, it's always good to know that the sitters you found certainly are quality, and you enjoy their company, but also you're willing to have them back. That's wonderful news. I mean, I think that's testament not just to the quality of the sitters, but to the homeowners as well, if I may say. So thank you.
Thanks.
And thank you for being such a really a collaborative member of the community. You really are, and it's great to know. And I mean, you've mentioned you've traveled to Japan, to obviously across Europe, from the States, but also you've had people from all over the world in your own home. So it's travel, sort of whether you are going yourself or receiving people or writing about it. So it's wonderful to follow you. And we look forward to your next issue of nextbiteoflife.com. So thank you very much. And thank you for taking part today.
Oh, thank you so much, Lamia. It was wonderful. I'm more than happy. Anytime you need me to do anything, just let me know. And hopefully, like you said, we'll meet somewhere down the line, right?
I really hope so. I'm looking forward to meeting you face to face and maybe having a glass of wine in Valencia. Who knows?
Oh, good. You're more than welcome.
Great. Thank you so much again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.